brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, inshallah, we are going to talk about children and lots of children. As I promised, though it was to be after 5, but I'm blessed to start before that because I can't wait. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, تَزَوَّجُوا الْوَلُودَ الْوَدُودَ فَإِنِّي مُكَاسِرٌ بِكُمُ الْأُمَمَا يَوْمُ الْقِيَامَةِ. That get married to a woman from whom you can get lots of children, because I'm going to increase my ummah in hereafter. Mukathirun bikum, from through you. But the question comes from the teenagers, how am I supposed to know that? How can I have lots of children from her? Is Islam allowing something which you mullahs are telling us not to do? Indeed, no. You are able to know that if she has got many sisters and brothers, or is she alone. You can know that by her other cousins, her own family, and so forth. So from there you base. This is part of it. Now, Islam promotes lots of children, isn't it? We are going to come to that. Why I'm talking about that is, we are dealing with Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam, and the legacy of Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam with his father Yaqub alayhi salatu wassalam, those two prophets who are the grandchildren of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, from his second son Isaac, Ishaq alayhi salatu wassalam. If any prophet, his story has been well covered in one surah, then that is Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam. Among the most beautiful creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But before we talk about him and his lots of brothers, I'm going to play a video. I really apologize that I could not remove the music from it, because it is prepared by those people who love music. It is prepared not by Muslims, but by non-Muslims. But the facts and figures in it is so good. I would like you people to bear with me for a few minutes, and then I will let you people answer the questions for yourselves. Jazakumullah khairan.
According to research, in order for a culture to maintain itself for more than 25 years, there must be a fertility rate of 2.11 children per family. With anything less, the culture will decline. Historically, no culture has ever reversed a 1.9 fertility rate. A rate of 1.3, impossible to reverse, because it would take 80 to 100 years to correct itself. And there is no economic model that can sustain a culture during that time. In other words, if two sets of parents each have one child, there are half as many children as parents. If those children have one child, then there are 1/4 as many grandchildren as grandparents. If only 1 million babies are born in 2006, it's hard to have 2 million adults enter the workforce in 2026. As the population shrinks, so does the culture. As of 2007, the fertility rate in France was 1.8, England 1.6, Greece 1.3, Germany 1.3, Italy 1.2, Spain 1.1. Across the entire European Union of 31 countries, the fertility is a mere 1.38. Historical research tells us these numbers are impossible to reverse. In a matter of years, Europe as we know it will cease to exist. Yet the population of Europe is not declining. Why? Immigration. Islamic immigration. Of all population growth in Europe since 1990, 90% has been Islamic immigration. France, 1.8 children per family. Muslims, 8.1. In southern France, traditionally one of the most populated church regions in the world, there are now more mosques than churches. 30% of children ages 20 and younger are Islamic. In the larger cities such as Nice, Marseille, and Paris, that number has grown to 45%. By 2027, 1 in 5 Frenchmen will be Muslim. In just 39 years, France will be an Islamic republic. In the last 30 years, the Muslim population of Great Britain rose from 82,000 to 2.5 million, a 30-fold increase. There are over 1,000 mosques, many of them former churches. In the Netherlands, 50% of all newborns are Muslim, and in only 15 years, half of the population of the Netherlands will be Muslim. In Russia, there are over 23 million Muslims. That's 1 out of 5 Russians. 40% of the entire Russian army will be Islamic in just a few short years. Currently in Belgium, 25% of the population and 50% of all newborns are Muslim. The government of Belgium has stated 1/3 of all European children will be born to Muslim families by 2025, just 17 years away. The German government, the first to talk about this publicly, recently released a statement saying, "The fall in the German population can no longer be stopped. Its downward spiral is no longer reversible. It will be a Muslim state by the year 2050. Muammar al-Gaddafi of Libya said, "There are signs that Allah will grant victory to Islam in Europe, without swords, without guns, without conquest. We don't need terrorists. We don't need homicide bombers. The 50+ million Muslims in Europe will turn it into a Muslim continent within a few decades." There are currently 52 million Muslims in Europe. The German government said that number is expected to double in the next 20 years to 104 million. Closer to home, the numbers tell a similar story. Right now, Canada's fertility rate is 1.6, nearly a full point below what is required to sustain a culture. And Islam is now the fastest growing religion. Between 2001 and 2006, Canada's population increased by 1.6 million, 1.2 of those immigration. In the United States, the current fertility rate of American citizens is 1.6. With the influx of the Latino nations, the rate increases to 2.11, the bare minimum required to sustain a culture. In 1970, there were 100,000 Muslims in America. Today, there are over 9 million. The world is changing. It's time to wake up. 3 years ago, a meeting of 24 Islamic organizations was held in Chicago. The transcripts of that meeting showed in detail their plans to evangelize America through journalism, politics, education, and more. They said, "We must prepare ourselves for the reality that in 30 years, there will be 50 million Muslims living in America. The world that we live in is not the world in which our children and grandchildren will live." The Catholic Church recently reported that Islam has just surpassed their membership numbers. Some studies show that at Islam's current rate of growth, in 5 to 7 years, it will be the dominant religion of the world. As believers, we call upon you to join the effort to share the gospel message with the changing world. This is a call to action.
Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, And it is obvious. If we had prepared it, maybe it would have looked bogus. But it is prepared by those who think that we are their enemies, which we are not. When Rasulullah ﷺ said something 1400 years ago, we saw it so manifestly right in front of us. Is it working? We wanted to start with a tilawah which did not work out. Maybe it will work out now. If it does, then we will go with a little bit of few minutes with Quran tilawah, inshallah. While it is happening, if it happens, brothers, you have seen something. I know maybe some of us had seen this before. It is circulated in emails. I can forward it to your brothers. It's nothing secret. It is all public. But lessons which we learn from that. Yes, my land and your land are not mentioned, but we are part and parcel of that. So part of that is family matters. For the past 2 days, we are learning about how to keep our family secured, how to look after our children. And this is part of what we learned today and part of what you saw there. Now we are going to touch YUSUF alayhi salatu wasalam and his so many brothers to get some lessons from. We see, before I proceed with that, I would like to tell a story of a father and son. Because this whole surah deals with father and a son and many other sons. So before I proceed, this is also something which has been sent to me and I tried to benefit from it. There was this rich father. Listen to it, ears open. He had a good son. And this son, he knew his father is rich. He was graduating. Before his graduation, he saw a nice, beautiful sports car in a showroom. He indicated to his father more than one way that he would love to get that for his present on his graduation. So when the day for his graduation came, his father summoned him to his office inside the home or in the room, where he gave him as a gift a small parcel. The son, he did get annoyed a little bit because he was expecting the car. But he thought, out of curiosity, let me open it and see. So when he opened the box, he saw a beautiful Quran, and the Quran itself had embroidered with a gold color embroidery, written the name of the son. The son, he got very angry, lacking patience, being young. He said, with all this money you buy me this Quran? This is all you can give me? And he got very angry and he closed the Quran and went away, went on. He went to get success in his life. He became a rich man, very good business, very good business and everything. Then he later on decided, years down the road, the sound, increase it. Down the road he decided, he realized that he is missing his father. His father must be very old. He has to go back to look after his father. While he is preparing himself to get back to father, from the day of his graduation, whom he had not bothered to call or check on, now he wants to go back, which he did. But what happens on the way? Before he is able to even leave his home, he receives a telegram that your father passed away. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And he has left all the estate for you to take care of. He was just after one small car. He misbehaved, and yet all the estate is coming back to him. So he goes back to take care of everything, though he's late, to get the most important thing. So he said he started to look after everything, and then he went to the office and he saw the gift which was given to him way years back. He's still sitting there in front in the office. He started out of curiosity to open it, and then he happened to see the back. At the back of the Mus'haf of the Quran, he found a car key and a receipt written from the same showroom where he had seen the car, fully paid, with the date of his graduation in it. But it was too late. It was too late. And many of us in our young age have done things, now we cry, but it is too late. It is too late. Yes. What is used for the son now to cry when it is too late? For the one to whom he may cry and show his condolence is gone. Believe me, the pain the son has gone through just because of the car is worth nothing. We, out of certain misunderstandings between yourself and your wife, for the whole day you don't talk, you suffer and she suffers. She waits for you to start and you wait for her to start. The dumbest is the one who doesn't start. Yes. So if you want to be smarter than your wife, always you start. You will never become belittled. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said so. The one who comes to seek for forgiveness, he is not the belittled one. Allah is going to give him izzah. Allah is going to uplift you and give you honor. So if this son had even tried a little bit, even from back doors, meaning by sending others to find out about the actuality of the situation, would he be crying for the rest of his life? Do you think after finding out that gift, will he ever be happy in his life? No. Brothers, our hatred among ourselves starts from small things. For example, you have a friend. You are good colleagues, you talk always and communicate with him or her. And then you become too busy. You think that your friend is also as busy as you. If you call him, you will disturb him. So you don't call him based on something you think is a very valid reason. Though we have all the forms of telecommunications and the ways to correspond, but we still think that it is a valid reason. And the same applies to him. So, oh, my friend is busy, so I won't talk to him. Maybe later on. Then after that, after a while, the shaitan comes and says, look, he should have been calling me. He did not. Why should I? And then after a while, oh, that guy hates me, man, and that's why he's not calling me, so I should hate him also. You see from where it started? This is the way the relationship is. Even not with friends, with your own families. When you are away from your wife, for example, you don't call her and she's waiting for your call and you are waiting for her to call you. And if she doesn't, oh, look, man, she's already thinking of something else. Yes, that is wrong. You be the first one to move. Don't be like this son. Don't ever be, it may be too late. Why I relate first that, and then this story, has a lot to do with Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. A lot. We all know the legacy of Yusuf, and that's why I'm not going to go in the depth of the actual which is explained in the Quran. We all read Quran, we all know the meaning of the Quran, if not in the actual language, but at least in the translation. But just to cap it a little bit, and then I will go in the depth of few issues, and it should be enough. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was born in America. Anybody disagrees with me? Only one brother. The rest of you, where was he born? In Egypt. Jazakumullah khairan. We know Palestine. Somebody else. I'll leave it to you brothers to dig the information. It wasn't Egypt. It wasn't America. Go in. I want you brothers to do a little bit of homework. It's good. Go to the internet, known as Sheikh Google. Right? Sheikh Google. Give you lots of answers. Good and bad answers. You'll find it in Sheikh Google. Go and find it there. Right? Thank you. Jazakumullah khairan. At present, I only know the name of Sheikh Google. Maybe later on it will become Mullah Google, then Allahu Alam. At present, is only Sheikh Google, right? Okay. Now, do that homework and find out. I won't tell you the answer. Now, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, after he is born, he has got lots of siblings, and they end up, we know what happens, the brothers' jealousy and things we are going to discuss. He ends up going, thrown in the well, and from there he ends up being in the house of the king, where he becomes the ruler and takes the most important position, that is Minister of Finance. Without finance, Australia is nothing. Without Australia, without money, we are not here. Simple as that, isn't it? So that's a very important position held in any state or government. Everything starts with money. Even Minister of Defense, even the Prime Minister, he can't do anything without money. Right? From where will he get the wages? Simple as that. So it starts from money. And then how his brothers, they end up going to meet him and all these things, and it ends up all nicely. His father comes back from where he's in Madian and with his children and everybody, and they stay in Egypt where they flourish. There are lots of brothers, they have lots of children, and later on, who as a prophet comes from him? Aaron and Moses. Started from Joseph, Yusuf, and ends up with Aaron and Moses, who were ordered by Allah to migrate back to their fatherland of Palestine. So this is basically the wholesome story. Coming back to break few things in the points which we are going to discuss. Now, as I said, Surah Yusuf has got lots of things for us to learn from. Among the most important issues, our father has to be very, very tactful with his family, with his children, with the rest of the brothers who share the love of that father. Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam, though as a prophet, the children, they felt something that he is more bonded to his son Yusuf because he was special. No wonder he told his son Yusuf, "La taqsus ru'yaka ala ikhwatik." When Yusuf, he saw this dream, in the dream he sees that 11 stars and the moon and the sun, they prostrate for Yusuf, and he tells his father who is a prophet, he says, "Do not tell it to your brothers because they are going to plot against you." He already knew that this son is very special. So he tried to make him conceal that fact. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, "Ista'inu ala hawaijikum bil kitman." Sometimes you need, and this hadith is sahih, that to get something done, sometimes you need to hide it from people. Right? For example, you are interested in the daughter of your neighbor to get married to, not concealing it in other sinful way, no. So you tell your mother or father to approach. What you do, you don't just go there and tell everybody or call the talkback radio show and say, "I'm interested in my neighbor's daughter, his name is Fulana and she is so and so and so and so." Before anything happens, everything will finish. Some of us, we get angry when two families, they get together and decide on marriage and then they let others know. Some of us, because we are so closely united among us, we get upset. Why did he come and let us know? Were we going to eat up his daughter? No, that is not the truth. Because of this hadith, it is sometimes good to keep it private till everything is solidified. So now the father is advising the son to keep quiet about this, because otherwise your brothers will plan and plot against you. But we do know that is exactly what happened. Down the road we see that they want him to go and play. They plot, as all the brothers, to go and kill Yusuf. Why? Because he is more beloved to their father. And from here, all this is to do with families. There are prophets we are dealing with, but he is a son of somebody, a brother of somebody, and those who are planning and plotting are brothers. And this is what we are talking about, family matters. When we just saw the documentary, it was all about families. Nothing more, nothing less. And this is what we are talking about here. Then, when they gave the promise to look after him because he was younger, he was allowed to go. But one important point we learn here, when Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam, he said, don't take him, maybe a wolf will eat him. That more looks like a mistake in the sense, why? The Mufassirin, they say, because instead of saying don't take him, or or things like this, he even gave them a hint of an excuse, which they used later. They said, Akalahu zib. Because their father had indicated that the wolf will eat, and they come back and they said the wolf has eaten him. And then this wolf looked like a very smart wolf. He took YUSUF alayhi salatu wasalam, he undressed YUSUF, and then he ate YUSUF, and wiped a little bit of blood on the clothes of YUSUF, and gave it to the brothers to take it to the father. This is what these sons, they come and tell the father. Because father, when he goes to check the clothes, it's not even torn. It is raw, red, but not torn. He knows instantly, because he already had known about the dreams and things that these sons of his, is trying to plot. But here it is that what we learn from this is, when you tell your children not to do something, do not give them the hint that if they do something, these are the kind of reasons they will use when they commit a sin or something wrongful or being disobedient to you. So this is do not support them in that way. Tell them what the right is, but do not tell them what the excuses they may are or will be able to make. It can be very dangerous. Jazakumullah khairan. I did not even start yet, ya akhi, but I will be with you because you look very dangerous. Now, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, okay, all this scenario takes place, and he ends up, I'm not going to go, now he grows up, right? Let us go, he grows up, ends up in the family there, and he grows up. Another issue, and that is the issue of men and women. This is very important. Now Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, he is in the house of Aziz. Can be the sultan, can be the ruler, can be the minister, or could be anything with the differences of the opinions of the scholars in it. But he ends up being there in the house in one of the houses in Egypt, in the house which has got its status. Allah had given him lots of beauty. Many of the scholars are of the view that nobody has more beauty than him apart from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where there are views that Adam alayhi salatu wasalam was the most beautiful, who was how many meters tall? 60, I would say it's about 50 meters at least. This is about 80 centimeters. That's 48 meters. Man, I would wish if he was here, we will win the World Cup and beat the Aussies in Auckland. There you go. Now, we are going to talk about Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, when that woman, she wanted to make him commit a haram. But before that, I remember a shi'r, which I use sometimes, which shows the danger of the situation, in which the sha'ir is saying, وَنِسَاءُ الْأَرْضِ لَمَّا أَنْبَدَتْ أَقْبَلَتْ نَحْوِي وَقَالَتْ لِي إِلَيَّ. Come on, man. فَتَعَامَيْتُ كَأَنْ لَمْ أَرَاهَا لَمَّا أَبْصَرْتُ مَقْصُودِي لَدَيْهَا فقلت كيف ألقى الله ربي آثما يوم حشر الناس والغل يدي بئست اللذات إن كان بها غضب الجبار والسخط علي معاذ الله هذه صيحتي قالها يوسف قلها يا أخي. In this, the sha'ir is trying to relate to us what happened to Yusuf, that to make it shorten, that a woman is inviting a man, and the man, when he remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he fears the punishment of Allah, he decides not to go for that haram. And then he said, this is what Yusuf said, Mu'azullah, may we seek refuge in Allah, oh Allah protect us, as Yusuf said it, Also your brother said. So for those that brother who said that he has got difficulties with all those sisters sitting beside him in the university, remember this share, Jazakumullah khairan. Now when this woman, she wanted to commit fornication with Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, there were so many issues making it easier for Yusuf to commit, such as she invited him. You don't hear it easily if a woman invites a man hesitates. Whereas it's norm for a man to invite and a woman to refuse. Which means men are more vulnerable than a woman. They are more solid than a man. Contrary to many of us, we may have that concept of. Secondly, we also know when we are in this country, a woman can easily claim that you RAPE did her while she is still your wife and put you in prison for life, which you cannot prove easily and claim to do the same to that woman, or the woman have done it to you, right? Even you are husband and wife. I know a case in America where this brother, he committed suicide because the woman, the husband and wife, they split and there was separation, and then there was this court order of you can't get near to this many places, you know, and then the wife, they are husband and wife, she invited him. So he came and they stayed together for a while, and then she started to act funny. So he had to go out, and then she started to blackmail him. You came here, it's all recorded in the camera and everything. Every time blackmailing, he ended up committing suicide. So she is the one inviting now, that woman, and it is in her house, and he is not a stranger. He knows all the houses and he knows her well, she knows him well. And then she has locked all those doors, no exit, no lights, anything, khalas. Him and her. She is inviting him to commit a haram, and she is even encouraging him. She said, Ta'al, come. Look at this scenario, I'm trying to get somewhere from it, right? And then on top of that, he is very old, ugly looking. Am I right? It's totally the opposite. Very young, radiance, vibrating, the most handsome man, right? And he's openly invited. No hidden agendas, nothing to worry about. Nobody is there. She is the master over him, and he her servant. And yet, when also he is a slave, slaves of those days, whatever they do, nobody bothers about it. He was considered, he's a free-born man, but that is what was considered about him at that time. So he wasn't worried, and he was a stranger in the country. People, they didn't know much about him, and yet he still refused. And she had the position and everything, and she was beautiful, and she was rich. And she warned him against the prison, and so many other reasons. But did Yusuf alayhi melt under the pressure? One of the brothers, he was telling me about one qadiyah where the woman, she closed the doors on him. Wallahi, this happened in a place, I don't want to mention the name of the place. And he was all sweating and everything, but in the end he committed everything. Astaghfirullah. But Yusuf, Allah supported him, Allah saved him. Who was, yes, it wasn't that he wasn't beautiful. We know that when the woman, when this Imratul Aziz, yes, I know it, Ya Akhi, I know it. Jazakallah khair. When Imratul Aziz, she invited the rest of the women, then when the people, they started to gossip, the woman of the community, that look at this woman, she's inviting to do something, invited her servant, slave to commit something with. She invited them. She gave them a knife and a fruit. For all I know, it may have been a kiwi. People are talking it is an apple, it is a this, but we don't get dalil, we don't talk about it. Let us settle with a kiwi, right? So she gave the fruit and the knife to everybody to cut the fruit. So when they started to actually cut it, that is when she said, Yusuf, come out. The moment they came out, Allah said, فَقَطَّعْنَا أَيْدِيَهُنَّ. Each one of them, they cut their hands, fingers, or injuring it, whatever. Because of his beauty, they said, مَا هَذَا. He cannot be a bashar. He is not a human being. He is an angel. Subhanallah. So he knew his quality, alayhi salatu wasalam. But Allah protected him. Allah saved him from that. What we learn from this lesson, it's not a story to go for, but to learn lessons. Let us apply this in our current family situation. With this, I will conclude, inshallah. We get married. The problem starts if it is an extended family, where my brother-in-law is also living, and few others. And then there is an issue of hijab. If you implement, no, my wife will not go in front of my brother, then you say, you are the only one who knows about Islam, you are extremist, or things like this. Or when she gets married, and now there are other issues, not only of hijab, but things very much near to these issues. We face it as a dilemma in every day of our life. So going in the depth of this, and then the Mashaykhs have been already speaking about the dangers. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked about al-ham, about your brother-in-law, be it your husband's brother or his cousin or somebody else, qala al-hamu al-maut, they are your death. In the same house where you live, he lives. If he comes, everybody will take it for granted. He is also living there. But if a stranger comes, people will think, he is not the right, there must be something wrong there. So she will be afraid of him, and he will be afraid to come. So these are part of these things. Look at the story of Yusuf. He was residing in that house, and that's why it became easier for that woman who wanted to commit that haram, which never happened, alhamdulillah, but it became easier. Why? Because they were residing among the same walls. They were in the same place. So among the advices which I give as parents, that if you have got more than 1 or 2 sons at home, and who are elders, try to allocate accommodation which is more suitable for the newly wedded. And also we have this concept that to look after our parents, they have to stay with us. No, they don't have to. Sometimes your parents to stay alone, they are better off that way. If they are young like you, some of our fathers, they look younger than us. Yes. So let them be. When the time will come for you to look after them, then you go and hold them with both arms and bring them home and take care of them. Not when they don't need it. But looking after parents does not mean making them bored with you. Looking after your parents means looking after them. And accommodation can be part of it, which you can provide outside, or it may not be. And with the system of the country here, things are even more easier. Because when your father will stay with you, then your elder brother will stay with you, then there is a mas'ala of hijab and so many things. We need to consider these things, brothers. These are part of these family issues we get from this surah and from the story of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. And then as parents, there are so many other things which we come across, but I think this may be enough because of the so much straight right sitting in front of me. So I think, but we do have a barrier here. Jazakumullah khairan. Brothers, I will remind as the last of my wordings here, the documentary which you saw, take it very seriously. They have not produced it without it really being serious. Those of us who want to be greedy, I call those people who only want 1 or 2 children for no reason greedy people. And that is what the kuffar have been, and that is why their population is declining. Because they are so busy enjoying their time that they don't have time to look after their children. They don't want to commit themselves to children because they think that it is too much. So what they do, they make money, work 5 days, and then enjoy the next 2 days. They come back and work 5 days, they enjoy the next 2 days. The scenario repeats. But we as Muslims, we have got obligations. Part of it is, all of it is in fact Islamic. We feel towards our family. We want many children, not only for the case of that they may look after us after we get old. Inshallah, we don't need these children to look after us, but to promote the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then they become among our wasail to enter the Jannah. Also, some of us, we make mistakes. We think that our children are only the reasons we will get to Jannah. No. There are so many cases where we as parents become the reason for our children to enter Jannah. Didn't you read Surah Al-Kahf, the story where the father, the parents were salihin, then these two children, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of the parents, Allah saved their wealth, their treasure through Khidr. And then Allah upgraded and uplifted their status. Not only that, in other verses mentioned in the Quran, so that they can live with their parents in the Jannah in a better place. So don't ever as children think that I'm the only reason for take my father to the Jannah. You forget that there will be reasons where your parents will be able to drag you also to Jannah. So it is a circle going round and round and round. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may Allah bless us all, and a special thanks to Al-Kawthar and Mercy Mission, and to my beloved brother Sheikh Tawfiq Chaudhry, to invite me and to be honored in a place with this audience of few people where I have spent these few days trying to take out few of what I feel in my heart. I pray to Allah that each one of us, we have a blessed family. We have a family with lots of children, as production rate of 8.1 of the Muslims in Europe. Some of you, inshallah, 10 or 12 or 15. I have a friend who was in PhD with me from Malaysia. I think he has one wife and 11 children at present. So there you go, mashallah. Try to beat him. I couldn't. I think I won't be able to. But you brothers, I give it to you brothers. Jazakumullah khairan. And I pray that may we all gather like this in Jannah one day. Jannatil Ala, Jannatil Firdaus. Nothing less than that. Jazakumullah khairan. Again, a special thank to my brother, whose name I just mentioned now, Sheikh Tawfiq, and we pray to Allah that we meet all again. Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.
Islam is a peaceful way of life.